Hello, folks. This is just a quick update on what's going on as far as the formal complaint I put in with the administrator. As you can see, I'm in a different bed. So, the last, what month are we in? May. I've been only complaining since, I think, February. About the mattress and the bed rails and all of that, and finally it's fixed. So it only took a formal complaint to fix it. To this morning, along the same lines, it's just more of the same stuff. That this time it was what I thought was one of the better CNAs. I kind of have an idea of what's going on with her a little bit ago, and this might be TMI, but it goes to my disease, especially when I'm in between infusions. I tend to get spontaneous, just like when you're a kid, spontaneous erections. I can't control them. Sometimes they last for hours, sometimes it's only a few minutes. But the last time she worked, I think the second to last day, I was, when she came in to get me up, I think it was before breakfast, and I was on the tail end of one of those situations, and she ripped the covers off real quick, and she had something was going on down there. No, it was almost over with. It wasn't even really an erection. It was more of what we used to call it, a chubby. But I think it freaked her out because when she was working this time, she refused to come in here unless somebody else was with her. So, she can do that if she wants to. The thing is that's a CNA's job. You have to deal with people's disease and what weirdness comes with it. I just happen anything nerves. If it has to do with nerves, there's a guy up front who has MS, and he looks like he can't stop shaking his whole body. I don't have that problem, thankfully. There's another girl who's had it, I guess, for a long time. She's been in this nursing home for 13 years, and she can walk and everything. I don't really know exactly how she's suffering with that, but I know she told me she has MS, and that's why she's here. So maybe she can't write her name, maybe it's attacked her brain real bad, who knows? It hits everybody differently, but as long as it's nerve associated, anything with the nerves attached, which is pretty much your entire body, we all die from pretty much choking, or we stop breathing because the nerves to our lungs don't work anymore, or the nerves to our heart. My sister has autonomic nervous system problems, which are all of her internal organs. Everyone's different. This is the way it hits me. It's anything musculoskeletal, and that's muscular. So anyway, what happened was, she didn't want to help me this morning. I knew, occasionally, regardless, you still need to be changed, right? Even if you use a urinal for urination and that. So this morning was one of those mornings for me, and I had an appointment, so I had to get ready. I think it was actually 8:45, but I put 15 minutes to it because I knew they had to change me, right? So when my CNA, this girl came in before breakfast, I had my light on at 7 o'clock. I really wanted to get changed prior to breakfast so that I'll be ready to just be put in my chair and head up the road, when my appointment came. Well, this girl decided she didn't want to work with me. She was here by herself this morning, I guess. The girl who came in at 8, which is breakfast time. And So she said, and then I heard her say, I'm not working with him alone or something like that. And I was like, she's done it multiple times. I don't understand why there's a change in less. It has to do with what happened, with the chubby. So that's the only thing I think of. And then time came, 8 o'clock came around, and then here comes breakfast. I still hadn't been changed. So when they grabbed my tray, started bringing, I said, "Don't bring that in here," which blows my mind. I've been complaining about this since I've been here, and at the other nursing home. You don't bring somebody stuff to eat when they're sitting in their own filth. You just don't do it. I never did it to my kids. By God, I hope they're not doing this to their kids. And they're young. They're younger than my kids are. They're not much older than my grandkids. I never did it to them either, and I wouldn't have done it to them if I had to babysit with them when they were little. So why are they doing it to me? So anyway, she said, "Oh, you don't want this," and she put it back. I said, "Well, I need this." I said, "Well, no, I need to change." She said, "Well, we're doing trays right now." That's another thing. "Whoa, we're doing trays right now." It's the same thing as doing the rounds. There's a way to do this properly, which they ended up doing this morning because we have a new nurse. I didn't know. I think she's new. I've never seen her before. And I feel kind of bad because I got mad at her. But, well, I wasn't really mad at her. I was just mad in general. But this girl says, "Oh, we're doing trade." I said, "Well, then I just need to see the nurse." And she walks out. It's like 10 minutes goes by. She's handing out trays. It's like, what the heck is going on here? I asked to see the nurse. So she comes walking by my door again. I said, "I need to see the nurse now, not an hour from now." So she just yells at the nurse and tells the nurse to come and see me. So the nurse comes walking in, and like 5 minutes later, by the way, that girl, my CNA this morning, she'd come in, turn off my light. I turned it back on. She came in. I said, "Don't turn that light off until after I'm saying." She is under the impression that she answered the call light. I'm going to get to the nurse in a minute. She's under the impression that she answered the call light just because she walked in my room. I said, "That's not answering a call light. Answering the call light is when you do whatever it is I'm asking you to do. Now, if I say, 'Give me some water,' I don't care if you turn off the call light and go get me some water. But when I say I need to be changed and you turn off that call light, and I know it isn't going to be you, it's going to be somebody who's not even here yet. Yeah, I'm going to turn that call light back on so that she knows." So I didn't know she was my CNA at the time. I thought the girl who wasn't here yet was my CNA. I found out later that the girl who refused to change me this morning, she was my CNA. She should have changed me. She didn't do it. I can understand not putting me in the chair because CNAs have to have help when they're doing that, and she's actually not certified yet. But she should have at least changed me and got me ready for when that other girl came in. So the reason that she didn't do it, that to me says it has to do with what happened the other day. And that's my disease. I can't help it. And her job is to deal with what my disease is. And I've told other ones, I've had just, raging erections with some of these CNAs. And I say, "Look, I'm sorry, I have no control over it. They kept rescheduling my infusion. And I went like a month and a half without having an infusion at all. I think it was a month and a half, something like that. And that's when these got really bad. They would last for hours, and it was happening constantly throughout the day and that kind of thing. And so, I was telling my father, I think what it is when I go off the infusion, I notice that. And then when I go back on the infusion, it fades away again. So it's part of my disease. But anyway, I told some of these other CNAs, "Hey, I'm sorry, I can't control it." They said, "Don't worry about it. It happens all the time." I'm like, "All right." Well, I didn't say that to her. Or the one that said something. I don't know. I don't think I said something to her. Or the one that doesn't work with me anymore and all that. So I guess she thought it was a for real erection. No, it was part of my disease. So, and this one was too. So she refused, and then now by the time the nurse comes in, it's 8:15. So when the nurse came in and talked to me, I was already fuming because they had already rescheduled my infusion this month again because the CNAs are not getting me up when they're supposed to get me up to get ready. So when they came in, that's why it got rescheduled this time. I was still in the bed, and I was supposed to be up here waiting to leave when I was still in the bed. And they didn't even come and put me in the chair for another 45 minutes after that. So they had to reschedule that appointment. They rescheduled it for today. So this morning, when she refused to change me, then the thing with breakfast, I was like, this is getting ridiculous. So I started getting pretty hot. And then the nurse came in, and I said, I started to explain it to her. I was kind of hot, but I wasn't really mad at her. And she just kind of stared at me. And I'm like, look, if you can't do it, get somebody who can. But I said, I have like 15 minutes to get all of this done. And then eat breakfast before I leave. Well, I don't think I said the breakfast part, but you know what I mean. There's things you have to do before you can leave, before you can go up front and wait for public transportation. And that's what I was waiting on, or that's what I was going to have to wait on. So as it was, the handy ride came, and I still wasn't ready. I ended up, I was like a few minutes late getting up there, and it was at 9:05 is when I finally got picked up. Well, and that's 8:15 is when the nurse came in here. And she's like, well, I don't appreciate you yelling and getting angry with me. And I'm like, I don't appreciate having to get angry and having to yell because nobody wants to do their job. I don't appreciate that at all. But that's what happens. So that's why I'm getting so angry, because I've been complaining about this for 9 months now? I'm sorry, and excuse my French, but get your head out of your ass. Because when I don't do these infusions, that's my life you're messing with. I could die from not getting one of those infusions. And they think, don't yell. What are you, crazy? You're putting my life at stake, because why? You don't want to change me, or you want to put up breakfast first? Are you out of your mind? Yeah, I'm going to get hot about it. So I told the nurse, she went up there and took, I said, look, if you can't tell them what to do, because this is, and I've heard this from other nurses, well, I'm just a nurse. I just make sure the CNAs are doing what they're supposed to do. I don't actually tell them what to do. And that's what the vibe I was picking up on. She wasn't going to do anything. I said, look, if you don't, get somebody here who can. And that's a big problem here, is that there's nobody taking responsibility for anything, other than the upper management, and they're not here all the time. So when they're not here, there's really nobody to take responsibility for anything. So that's what I told her. And I didn't realize that I think the unit boss, whatever, the nurse above her, I guess she's called a charge nurse or something over in the hospital, but she's in charge. I guess came in early, because she was, when I got put in the chair, it was like 8:30, and no, it was before 9 that I happened to go outside the door. Yeah, I went to see what time it was I was supposed to be waiting for the ride. And I went outside the door and I saw the chart that unit supervisor was here, and it was before 9. And I was told that nobody shows up until 9 o'clock. So she must have come a little bit early. Anyway, so, and I was going to talk to her. I didn't get a chance to talk to her because it was like, all I could do to just get put together and get everything and, get up front and, get out of here to get my infusion. All because the CNAs didn't want to do their job. And then I come back, and this is what kills me. I've been asked this before. And I'm from Boston. In Boston, you just watch Bill Burr. Bill Burr, he grew up, we're about the same age. He grew up in the suburbs. I grew up in the city. So I grew up around the projects. I mean, I had a bad child upbringing. I was like gang fights, all strange stuff like that was happening. The cops ran through my house once. They were chasing somebody that was on PCP, that kind of thing. That's the kind of childhood I had, and then I was finding 45 rounds on the ground that weren't unfired. I don't have no idea why that happened, unless it was the guy they were chasing. I don't know. But that's the kind of thing that I grew up with. Well, I grew up, for the most part, in the streets around Boston, like Revere, East Boston. East Boston was pretty bad. I saw a guy get his eye knocked out in a fist fight once when I was a kid. I was like in the 6th grade. And in EB High, it's 6 through 12. So when I hit 6th grade, I had to go to the high school. And now I was outside, everyone had a fight, and guy's eyeball got knocked out. I think that's when my mom made the decision. And they used to lock us in the classroom between classes. And this is just a little bit of background on me, so you understand. When I get angry at these nurses, because I've been asked several times if I want to see somebody, or if I want to talk to somebody, because I get too angry, I guess. They can't handle it. Well, here's the deal. I just told you how I grew up. I grew up yelling. That was just how you talk to people. You yelled at people. Hey, what's up? What are you doing? That kind of thing. That's my upbringing. Now, when these people can't get their head out of their ass, I'm going to yell. I'm going to get quite pissed off, quite hot. So then I leave. I come back. The social worker. You want to talk to somebody, maybe you have some depression or whatever. Now, first of all, when you have MS, it leaves so many scars in your brain that, different chemical imbalances, usually as depression, it hits you. It just happens. It's part of it. And then in addition, you have MS. So one of the two, if not both, will cause you to have depression. And I said, well, it's part of MS. So, yes, I'll talk to somebody, sure. Well, I talked to somebody a couple of months ago, the DON. She said the same thing. I said, sure. I said, it's part of MS, So I don't know what they expect if they figure I'm going to stop yelling at people. That ain't happening. If you get your head out of your ass, then I'm going to stop yelling at you. But as long as your head stays firmly up your rump, hell no. I'm going to continue to yell when you're endangering my life, which is what they're doing. When they have to reschedule these infusions, when I go for these infusions, that's like chemotherapy for people with MS. If I have to have that infusion. If I don't, I'm in danger of a relapse. I'm in danger of a relapse anyway. And having to argue with these people, that's brings the stress up, which makes me in danger of having a relapse. If I'm continuing to get worse, it's because I'm arguing with them. Now, the infusion is supposed to reverse a lot of that, and it's not working. Why? Because I'm arguing with them all the time. For the last 9 months, I've been at the same complaints over and over again until I finally did a formal complaint. And I didn't even complain about everything. Now, the administrator says, well, is there anything else? We have to make sure we do everything, or whatever the heck he said. No, you're going to handle this. And when this is over with, then I'll see. Maybe things will get better. If they don't, I'm going to do another one. But only with, another one that has a valid complaint to it. It's something that deserves a formal complaint. I'm not going to just complain about, I don't like the type of bread they get for the kitchen or something, stupid. It's going to be an actual formal complaint. But, they can have me see people all they want. It ain't stopping me from yelling at them. I'm still going to yell at them if they got their head up their ass. The answer to that, and I have never been like this, ever. In the Army, I think I was like this once with the one kid where I constantly had to give him crap because he was an idiot. I was in military intelligence, and this kid, I would teach him how to do stuff, and he just never caught on. And on the one hand, he can't help being an idiot. But on the other hand, he shouldn't be mouthing off to me, which is what he was doing to cover up the fact that he was an idiot. So people who do that, I have no sympathy for them, and I'm going to be all over them. And that's the way a lot of these CNAs are. They become mouthy to kind of protect themselves or whatever. Well, you're going to get mouthy with me? I'm going to get mouthy with you. All right? Now, that's the way I am. In addition, I had the administrator tell me that one of the nurses here, I don't know who it is, because she tried to get, I guess this was his way of trying to explain why the nurses here don't tell the CNAs what to do. It's because some nurse here, this is happening right now, or just happened, or whatever. It's not like it's from years gone by or something. This is recent. And that one of the nurses tried to tell a CNA, or a couple of CNAs, he wasn't real clear on it. Well, you'll see in a second. What to do. The CNAs refused to do it, and then proceeded to tell her when she goes out in the parking lot, they were going to kick her ass. And they said they. That means there was more than one said this to her. Now, I don't know if she was trying to get one or more than one to do anything, but more than one said they were going to meet her in the parking lot. Now, this, I've never had anyone say that to me. You know why? Because I give you crap. And if you come in here, I'm bedbound. I studied martial arts for 7 years. You come in here, I might take an ass whipping in the process, but you're going to damn well know that I was involved. Because if I get the upper hand, you're done. And I'm in a bed. So this stuff that's happening to this nurse would probably be happening to me too if I wasn't as abrasive as I am. And that comes from my upbringing. So you want me to be quiet and be nice to you? I'm a jovial guy. I joke around and all that. I think a lot of stuff is funny. And I'll try to joke around with you. But not if you got your head up your ass. Well, even so, I'll try to joke. I will joke sometimes because I can't help it. Because that's really my nature, is to be funny. You wouldn't believe it, but that is my nature. Look at some of my other videos from when I was talking about Bigfoot and stuff. And you'll know. All right, that's kind of like normal. I've never yelled at so many people for so many things before in my life. Well, except my sister. But you know how that is, Siblings have fights all the time. But I swear, that's what this is like. It's like, even my sister is smarter than some of these people. As far as that fighting thing goes, we fight all the time because her doing stupid stuff, or what I think is stupid stuff, Well, she comes in there and she's like, why are they doing this and that? Because she's worked in a nursing home before. She knows probably not as good as some of these CNAs do, but she worked it for a while. She knows kind of what she's talking about. And as soon as she walks in, she says, why are they doing that? What's wrong with this? She notices it immediately. So it's not just me. And I've been complaining for 9 months about this. 9 months. And it's still not fixed. That goes back to the paper where it said, people make me feel like I'm an idiot. I should go away. I shouldn't complain. I forget exactly what that bullet point is called. But it's neglectful, I think, by the staff or whatever. Because I complain and nothing is ever done. Look how long it took me to get this bed and this mattress. What is it, 4 months? May, let's see, February, March, April, May, 4 months. It took me 4 months to get this. It took me 4 months and a formal complaint before I got this. Why? I've been complaining about this for 4 months. Why does it take this to get them to do anything? And then because only really the administrator, the maintenance guy, some of the upper management are aware of what's really going on. The CNAs really aren't yet. Now, as soon as the administrator starts taking it out on them for what they're doing wrong, hopefully he's going to do that, then they're going to know. So then things just change as far as they're concerned. But as far as having me talk to somebody, yeah, I probably need it. I was on Ritalin before because supposedly I have ADHD. Now, the CNA I got, I don't know if it's this that I make her nervous and she gets forgetful, but she's very flighty. She, in my opinion, needs ADHD medication because she just scatterbrains. But I don't know if I just bring that out in her or what. And then what kind of ticks me off is how she's like, she's told me over and over again, like she'll strip my bed. I'm gonna make your bed up here shortly. This is in the morning after she puts me in the chair. I think she did it once, maybe twice. I'm gonna give her twice, but only once I can think of. And usually, her shift ends at 3 in the afternoon, like it did today. She still hadn't made the bed. And then she smiles at me and says, "Oh, see you later." But she has this smile like, yeah, flipping me the bird at the same time. So, I've never seen that before, have I? It's some of these kids, I swear to God, they're in their 20s. And it's like none of this has ever happened before. It's like, I'm 60. I grew up in the streets. Do you really think I'm not recognizing some of the stupid stuff you're doing? Some of the pulling the wool over people's eyes, and some of these things that you're doing. I do. I've seen it. It's like old hat. People have been doing that off and on for years in all kinds of occupations that I've had. So there's nothing new here. You're not being slick. It's you can see it immediately if you've dealt with it before. Anyway, this video is probably getting long. It looks 20-something minutes. I don't have my glasses. I can only see 2. At 2 is the beginning. It's 26 minutes or something, I think. That's a CNA going by with a card or something. 11 o'clock at night. All right, so I just wanted to tell you what happened today. I have to update some of my op-ed stuff on, Orange Jesus and whatever else I got going on here. In addition to this nursing home thing, now that something's being done anyway. And the administrator came in and helped with this bed, as long also the new director of nursing. He helped. So, and then they put me in the shuttle bus. I'm like, yeah, this is about normal. I said, I don't know why the seat, because usually in the shuttle bus, the seats on the driver's side go up, they fold up, so that you can put wheelchairs all the way up to the driver. Well, this shuttle bus is the first time I've seen a shuttle bus. It has the lift in the back. I have no problem with that. I can sit in the back, no problem. You just have to redo the little hooks on the bottom that hook onto my chair. But I noticed that at least it looks like none of the chairs fold up that are in front of me. So that's a little weird. If this is supposed to be a handicapped bus, you can only carry one wheelchair. Really? First time I've ever seen it, but whatever. As long as they can get me where I need to go, when I need to go there. I don't care about coming back. It's just getting there. I don't want this rescheduling is done. No more rescheduling of my infusions and so forth. So that's the stuff that's happened today. And I will keep you updated on anything new that happens. Let's see what else has to happen. The other thing, he fixed my bed and the rails. These rails look pretty stout. They got huge pins that go into the bed. They're actually made for the bed. I guess the ones I had before weren't made for that bed. So these are. So this is much more stout, and I can roll a lot easier on this. And it sits up higher. You know, before I was always laying back a little bit. This just seems to sit up a little better. And I'm not sitting up all the way either. I can sit up like straight, almost straight up, just like I do in my wheelchair in this bed. It's crazy. It's a different bed. Hopefully it's not going to be as sore on my butt as that other one was. It's starting to, I'm going to have to move around. And as long as it doesn't get as bad, as long as it's where I'm at right now is about it for it, because the mattress feels a little different. I'm fine with that. You know, the other one was just, it hurt a lot. I had to keep laying back. And the one I had before that it was about the same, but slightly worse because it wore out, like right where your butt goes. But, all right, I'll let you know. Like, comment, subscribe, and only if you can handle it, help me change my circumstances by sending me either crypto or buy me a cup of coffee and donate one time. And until next time, if you want to, look at the op-eds. But until next time, thanks a lot.